Let's make a fun file folder ephemera holder. Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space, and today I'm having a look at making these little cute file folders that will go inside a small journal. So I'm looking at slim journals, and the project for this month is going to be building a signature. And they will go inside a small signature like this. So this could be an insert for a traveling style journal, or something that when you just don't want a great big thick journal and you maybe want to take something away for the weekend and you would like to have a play. This could be your little ephemera holder, and it has all the little pockets for your stickers, for stamps, for interesting ephemera pieces that you might like to craft with when you are on the go. Perhaps you'd like to take that to a different room and just be able to sit quietly away from the chaos of your craft desk or some office space. It's nice to sometimes have a smaller slim journal. So we're looking at making signatures because over on the Facebook group for the Treasured Page, we are building signatures and sending them as a swap to our swap group friends. And I thought it would be fun to play along at home. You can make a signature and we will be decorating those up in the months to come. So this is the one that I've made. I'm going to be sending this out to a swap partner and I shall be receiving one in return, and then I will be decorating it. The project for this month is to make a little mini file folder which can either act as an embellishment to one of the pages. It could be a tuck like that, it could be there, and then you can tuck things behind it as well as being able to open it and get into all the little pockets and things inside. Or it could be something that maybe slots into the front cover of a journal or the back where you have a pocket in the future. And so that is that. This is also an idea that we're going to be making this month. This is a little pouch or purse, and this one was previously made in a past video for the French Linen Botanical Journal, and I made this with a mock leather effect, and I'll leave the link below to that fun project video and you can see how I did that. That was quite a nice one. Inside is fabric, so it's a bit flexible, and it's also just made out of tea bag papers. So this is just made out of old tea bags, exactly what you expect when you've made a cup of tea and discarded them. This has been made with glue and paint, and it has been buffed up with shoe polish. So that is junk journaling at its best, and I really enjoyed making that, and that is a leather effect. So there's that idea. What I want to make for this project is probably a purse using some fabric and paper, but I'm still working that little idea out in my mind, so I'm going to be tackling that this weekend, and I shall put out a video as soon as I possibly can so that you can see how I tackle the purse part of this project for this month's project. So there's 3 things to make for this month's project, and it is to make the signature. So the signature's made using 8 to 10 papers, mini file folder to hold ephemera, and then the purse. So there's 3 things to make this month. So I'm going to just have a little run through and show how I have put together my signature. It is just by using the papers and then binding them together with the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, which I demonstrated on the video last week. So if you would like to look that up, it's ever so straightforward. You just put your needle through, come out the back, go through this one and over to the final hole at the top there, out the other side and back through the centre. I'll loop the loop, easy peasy. Have a look at that video, I'll leave the link below. With this signature I've added some book pages and some textured paper, little interesting bits, and some papers that have got some coffee staining on them, a bag, and some vintage ephemera there. And I've also included a fold and a tuck point just by folding the papers and then binding it all together, and then on the back a little that tuck point there just by folding everything in. You can see that I've rounded the corners as well, just for an extra detail. That's a very plain signature, so no difference here. So in order to make one of these signatures, we just need some standard papers that we may have dyed with tea or coffee, or some botanical dyes using avocado or onion skin, something like that. Lots of videos here on my playlist. And this is just standard photocopy paper with tea staining on it, and that is an A4 size, so you can see there. What I've done is I've folded it in to be the size that I want, and that is to come in at 11 centimetres, which is roughly 4¼ inches, and then that is 21 centimetres, which is the width of the A4 paper. That's roughly 8¼ inches if you're going by inches. I folded it in this way rather than in half and shortening it. I folded it this way to create a larger scrap for myself so that I can keep that piece for something else. So this is what I'm doing. So very simply, I'm just following that line there and giving myself a guide of where I want this, and then I can just make that a fold like that, and then I can cut it accordingly. If I'm putting the papers inside each other, when I make my cut, I only make it once. I don't have to come back and then readjust, because as we start stacking papers together, they do push out from the centre because of the fold in the middle, the bend in the middle. So you will start to see that the centre pages will come out over the outer pages. So this way we can just do one cut and take it down to where we need it. The key thing here is to get it straight in the first place, and then we can cut it once and then maybe trim it at the top as well if we've got any overhang, and we will end up with our signature. So there you can see it's already starting to fan out. We'll just cut it off there and everything will be straight into the measurement that we need, and creating a larger scrap. The other way to do it would be fold it in half and then trim down those pieces to match up there. And I'm left with 2 shorter pieces as opposed to 1 larger piece. So it's all about creating the larger scrap from my point of view. So I'm going to just bring that in there to where I want it and then bend that. So I've got 3 pieces there and 2 extras. This is one of the printouts from my coffee shop page, so you could use that. And how I've done this to create the folds is the same principle. I've just taken one of these pages, folded it over to where I want it, and then this portion that I'm left with, I have folded it in. So if we look at this one here, it is just the same as this, like that. And then what I do is I will just fold that in and like that. So we don't even need to cut it if we don't want to. We've then created a nice little flip, and that's where we will bind everything. So if I put it together like that now, and we will cut off those pages round the back here, the final page is going to have a nice tuck or a flip, so we can glue that down or we can leave it open for some more journaling space. The other thing we can do is we can put the fold around the back if we prefer. So it's a piece of paper like that or like that. So it can either come in like a letter or it can come out like that. Just depends where you want to have your fold. Play about with it. Let's add it in here. So the little tuck point or flip will be on that side. And we'll just put it where we think. I'm going to cut these back now, and the same goes here. So I've got that one coming in on itself. So just do that one again. It just needed to go through once more. There we go. That's our signature appearing, and those are the scraps, and those are great because, you know, we actually cut that straight in the first place, that could now become little booklet or some papers that we can definitely use. Check our measurement and just make sure that we are still where we need to be. So that is roughly 11 centimetres. And then as I start adding in my extra pages, I think I might bring that in there like that. We can start to see how straightforward building a signature really is. So that's that one. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages there. So what I would like to do now is to put in some interesting papers. I've got some music paper here, which is vintage piece, so we might have that maybe down the bottom. That could also be stuck down and be a pocket. And then I've got this page here, which is just a book page, but it has got some interesting birds on it and a little poem or a sea shanty. I'm going to add that in there. Then I've got this cream paper which has been cut to the right size, and I just need to trim it off at the top. So I'm going to do that. So there we can see the scraps already being formed here, and you can already work out that perhaps when folded this could even become its own little notepad in its own right. We could even cut that and then it become a really nice tear sheet if we were to sew that in or do something with it. I'm not sure, but it's definitely better to have the longer scraps. So that's a little idea coming in its own right, whereas this is now pretty much ready to go. I just need to add in my different colour tone paper here somewhere, and what I'll do is I'll come through and I'll maybe break up that and add in there. It's only a subtle difference, but it does make a difference. I've got some vintage book page. I might add that in the middle. And then we can also have a look if we can do anything clever with this. So if I look at this, I've got this fold, but would I prefer it to come this way and do something interesting with this piece here? Maybe make a policy closure. That could work. It looks almost like an envelope. And then when I open that up, I've got some hidden space here, and perhaps that would be a nice idea in the future to put in a notepad or a tear sheet, and this actually to be a secret spot, and that's how that can work. So it's nice to build in these flaps. We haven't got to make that decision yet. That isn't even for me to make. I'm going to be sending this off to someone in the future, so they will be able to have those opportunities within their journal and they can use it their way. So I'm just adding in the possibilities. So it's looking like this, and then as we come over we've got a possible pocket, but it could be turned the other way. And then we've got the book page there, some textured paper here, so straw paper, and then we've got the music paper, sheet music, which is an original piece, and that would look nice with something added to it and collaged onto. This can be written on, or it can have embellishment. It could be a glue book. This was a text piece that I've added there with some French writing, and that comes from a little book that I found in a vintage flea market, and it is all about vintage travel. So it's a hot air balloon, but it's got some nice little pages at the back there, some little interesting detail about this hot air balloon escaping. So I think it's more of a children's story, but it's lovely text, and it just adds a bit of interest into a little journal like this. I feel like something should be added there, so I'm quite keen maybe to add in a glassine bag or a something. It just sort of feels like there should be something there. And then again, there's not much going on in the centre, but if I don't like this piece of paper, I could turn it that way, and then that's a bit more decorative in the centre, and I think I'll find something else to go in here. Yeah, I'd much prefer the arrangement of those markings on the paper, so that's a nice coffee stained paper, just get it the way we want it. And I'm going to just search out a glassine bag, and I think that's probably 10, and I could be adding in 11 with the bag, so I'll just have a look. So this is the glassine bag that I've got, and I'm going to cut off the end there, and that will create the possibility to have a pocket, and this could even be stained by somebody in the future. So I'm just going to trim it off like that, and then fold it in half like that. So that's how that appears. So I'm quite happy with that, and as you can see, the way we've cut it, there's no need to now trim it any further. And if you want to round the corners at this point, you can, or you can wait until you've bound it in and then go about rounding all the corners if you wanted to. So for the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, you may find we just don't have enough pages there to need the awl, and you can just poke your needle through the centre. You don't need to measure it particularly. You're just going to put 1 in the centre and then 2 on the outer edge, just coming in about a thumb's width, 1 there and then 1 there, and that's it. I use the awl because it's here. So I'm just poking that through there. That's my first one, and then I'll put 1 in here. I'm not paying much attention, certainly not measuring it, but it's like that. So that's where the holes would go. And then we just push through our needle all the way through to the other side. We're going to leave a tail here. So like that. Leave a tail free and then come through one of the other holes. I'm going to go with this one. Through that one, right the way over the top and down through the last hole there, out the other side, creating 1 big central stitch and 2 smaller ones on the back. And then we just pull this one, keep hold of it, and then we go back through our first hole, being mindful not to go through that thread there and up the other side, making sure that we go, there we go, and just make sure that your thread goes, oopsie, bring that up the other side, making sure you've got thread either side of your central stitch, and then we just tighten it up and we tie it off. So they need to be nice and taut, and by that you just need to pull them straight. Make sure that you've got it nice and taut on the back, that it's not doing that, so you need to pull it in. And when you're happy pulling it taut, just tie a knot, and maybe we'll do 1 more. And there we go, that is it. You can now leave the strings free, or we'll just tie a bow. So I think I'll just put a little bow in the centre there, and we can decide another time what we want to do with that. There we go, nice and neat. Remove the clips. Last thing to do is just go over with the bone folder and flatten and squash everything down so it sits nice and neatly. And also at this point you can just enjoy your first signature. And if you put anything more sturdy on the front, of course you would have a little mini journal, but this is just a signature. It can now be used with an elasticated cover and be used as a travelling journal, or it could be rebound at a later date and join other signatures that you might want to use within this year. So there we go, I think that's fine. That all seems to be sitting nicely, and I can play about with that later on. So that's that. Okay, I've got a little pile of scraps here from an earlier project, which was this, and then I've got this piece of paper, which is a thicker straw paper, packaging paper, and I'm going to make a similar thing, but this was made out of packaging card, and this is more of a paper, so it's a lot thinner. But when I start adding the book page to the centre of it, I can see that I'm going to create strength with the double paper, and it might just not be as thick as the card, which may be favourable. So I'm going to take another botanical page and I'm going to add it in here, and all I'm going to do is just glue that down, and this is what I did to achieve this. So I just got that and added it down there. Okay, I've cut the papers in half. I'm going to keep that because I'd like this flower and the berries to be on the front of the project, and I'm just going to glue this down. So that's the back. We will be gluing that down just using stick glue and book page. This could be a digital kit, and this would work really nicely with my botanical freebie for the Lost Garden, which is up on my Ko-fi page, and I'll show you what I mean. And this is the freebie sheet that you could use, and it would be like that. It would be a little booklet that you could make, and then you can have some labels and things down the side, or some lace or trim. So that's quite a nice idea if you didn't have the vintage book page and you fancied using digital kit, because there's lots of different types. There's lots of ways of doing this. Some people prefer digital kits and others prefer to just use what they've got. So either way is fine. But let's open this out and put this down as a lining paper for our little idea here. Just remove our glue paper, and that's what we're left with. And now, using the bone folder, I'm just putting in the crease so it will just bend round like that, and then I can add it in more permanently. Okay, and then I'm just going to use this piece of paper here, and I know it's shorter, so we'll have to come up with an idea there. So what I think I'm going to do is find a scrap of something interesting, maybe this text up here. Let's just have a look. Oh, that's interesting. This is very old rag paper from the 1700s, so I just want to make sure that I'm using the right amount here. Alright, so I'm going to put some glue along the top here. We're going to work out where this needs to be, and then just add this in here. Take the book page away there. And we'll just put some glue along the top here. I'm going to wrap that bit round and just make sure I've got this bit covered here with this fragment. All right, I'm going to add this bit here because I'm probably going to add a pocket here, and I think that this could be a little thumb hole. So I'm just going to add in where I think a thumb hole might be. And we'll just add that there so that when we cut into it, we've actually got something to see, and the same on the other side. But the thumb hole doesn't have to be dead centre. I just thought it should be in between those two flowers. So I think I'll do that now. So we'll just put that in there like that. Oh yeah, that works. Oh, that worked out. That's fine. Just a little bit there as well. Ink that up. And then we'll go down with a pocket. We'll see what we've got. And this is going to be a pocket all the way along here. I'm going to just add the glue all the way around the edge. But what I am going to do is add glue up the spine here as well, so that that can become a double pocket. Here, we'll just go up a little bit and then do the same along this edge here. Whoop, there we go. And then we'll just put down our vintage book page. Here we go. And then that will come and live right on that edge. We'll just let the glue seep out. Just wipe it down. And there we go. Okay, and now I can put in my pockets. So this is the inside, and I would like to be able to put in my pockets. But first I'm going to put the tab top in. So how I had it was like that. So we could add a tab that sticks out, or we can cut one in. This is a modern tab. This is a file divider, and I'm using this tab as a guide. And what we can see here is if I add it there, all I've got to do is cut away this portion. And I think what I'll do is I'll bring it right to the top, and then I shall use this as a guide and just cut that from there. So I'm just cutting away that portion. I can just see where I've got to come up like that, and then I can just come in and just curve round with the scissors to create that little dip in. You can draw it on. In fact, now that I've got this piece, I could use that as the piece to take away in the future. It's as simple as that. That's all you need to cut, just a little curve. Or you get a strip of, just get a strip of card, and then you might have a punch that even makes that shape, a corner punch, and then just taper it off at the end. So that's what it looks like. We'll keep that, that's useful. And then I'll just take a little bit off of the top there as well. So that will go like that. That's it. And then where I didn't quite get it as rounded as I would like, I'll just bring it in and trim it off. I've got a piece of old lined paper from a vintage notepad that I picked up a while ago. I'm just going to tear some off like this with a ragged edge, and I shall just ink around that to give it a worn look, to just really age that up. Quite fun to do with vintage style. You're just revamping a very old piece of paper that no one's using. And then I'm just going to make a little fold here. And if you want your tab to stick out a little bit more, then you just trim off the back a bit more. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so I just took a little bit off, so it just overhangs ever so slightly, just looks more interesting. And then what we'll do is we'll probably put something on here to break up all of this. It looks just a lot nicer if we break some of it up with a label, and then when everything is stuck down a bit better, we'll add in our piece of paper. Okay, I've got this little butterfly stamp here, so I'm just going to add some stamping to the top of this paper and just see if that will peep out through, or if we don't like it, we'll put it around the other side, but that's quite nice. So now that can come and live in here. That was just using black archival ink. So we'll manoeuvre that in there, so that looks interesting now, little peeping butterfly, and I think we'll do the same on the other side, so that was good. And adding in the butterflies, it could be a bee or it could be something else. A nice flower, but we've already got flowers, so we're just adding the butterfly because we like butterflies around here, and just tuck that in. Fun writing space, little list for something. So that's that. Just a nice little giveaway. This is just nice little happy mail. On the inside we can do the same here, where I've just put some tracing paper or vellum to create pockets, and then that can house labels, stamps, stickers and all the things that we like. You'd also have tear paper in there as well. There we go. And this is this month's challenge and project, and it is just to make this fun little folder with some pockets inside somewhere on it. So we've got lots of pockets on this one. I'm just going to trim that, just adding in the glue, and then just continue until we've finished. There we go. That's the project. So they're all different sizes, but that allows for different size ephemera to go in there, and then you could make your own. And then you can add stamps, or you can add scraps, and you can add stickers, and you can add fussy cuts, you could add die cuts, all the things. On this one I've rounded the corners so that's possible, but I think I'm going to leave this one without the corners rounded just for a different look. And then finally we could just add some labels to the front just to give it a final piece of embellishment. I've got these labels which came from my Lost Garden digital kit, so you can get that and cut up the little labels. They're just subtle ones, they come in, look really nice on a project, and so we could do that. That looks pretty there. That's a nice one, isn't it? What else have we got? This one. Oh yeah, they're nice. So these are useful. Maybe that one. Or maybe even wrap round. I think to break up the colour, maybe that's better. Give it an ink. This one's quite busy, so we want to maybe break up some of that. I'll just use my stick glue on this because we don't want the art glitter glue to run any of the ink on a digital kit, and we just need stick glue. We don't need anything fancy just to glue down a label. So we'll just gum up the label with the Yoo-Hoo glue. And we're going to put this one down here. This could have been another pocket, but I think that it's going to just add far too much in the way of bulk if we start doing that. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to wrap it round. And then I've got these little herbarium labels from Tracy Fox, and they've got the botanical definitions on them, so I'm just going to add one of those in there. I think that's going to be really sweet, so we're just going to do that. And again, I'm just going to use the glue, and then this is really sweet. It just gives you a little bit of interest, particularly if these ladies were going on an adventure. If it was our Victorian ladies that liked plant hunting, then this would be great, and they could even store their things in there. Maybe seed packets could go in the back, and it's just really fun. So I like that, so I'm doing that one. And then this one just wants a label here as well, so I'm thinking something like this in a similar way, and then that one on there. What else have I got? So these are quite nice. I could even have a more floral one to break up that space where we haven't got a lot, and then add that in there like that. We might want to put something up there as well, or this one. That's quite nice. So yeah, have a look at my coffee shop if you'd like to get a set of this. This comes with the full Lost Garden kit, and it comes with some really nice tags as well as the background paper. Really nice tags as well you can get hold of on the freebie, so there's lots up there at the moment. I'm just going to put that in there. There's also some free birds, so birds would look pretty onto something like this. So we just add that there, and then we'll roll that round to the back. Now there's nothing on the back, so I might not. So there's nothing on the back. That's a bit boring. Hang on, there's nothing on the back. And on the back of this, I'm just... Are we? Yeah, we're done. Okay, let's just add this map here. Nice old paper. Real old map there. And then we just cut round. I'm still in two minds as to whether to sew it, but the option is there. I'll go round again with some better glue, I think, round the edges. Got a bit of writing on there, somebody's original writing onto the map. So we'll just put the label over the top. And then we'll see a little bit peeping through rather than a whole lot, so that's good. So that's that. Nice vintage labels, just a subtle little look there. Put that there. That looks like a rose. Something fun. Okay, and then writing space there, but it could be stuck down in the journal anyway, and then it could be opened up like that. And then for this last finishing bit, I'm just going to come in and put that on there. This little Tracy Fox Creative Tracy Fox label going on there. Okay, good. There we go. Lots of possibilities. Two little styles there. One is longer and the other one is more square, so you can choose what you would like to do, but they would both come and fit in the journal. You could have one in the centre with a belly band and then have it as a pull out. That's really fun. Or you could have this further down at the bottom and become a tuck, so that's another idea. You could do two, you could do more than one. You know, they're nice happy mail things. You only need to do one. You could even have it wrapping round so that you could get at the ephemera front and back. That's interesting. It's a nice way to present it with a little bit of lace around, and that's what we will be doing. There we go. So they are fun. They are fun to do. They're fun to put together. They're fun to work out. And obviously you could make a much bigger one as well if you would like to keep your own ephemera and labels. So all these little labels that we're cutting up, you know, they could come and live in here. So this is quite nice. If you've got some labels that you want to gift, then you can add them now into this little pocket idea and they'll have somewhere to put them. So go and have a look at the shop if you want. You can add in the little ephemera pieces somewhere now and keep them all safe, and we'll be able to add them to the journal as we go. And of course stamp. There was a nice stamp floating around. Here it is, this one. This could have even been something that we add on there as a nice extra vintage piece. So a little vintage stamp would have looked great. I might add that on. So that could even come and be part of it as well. Just a bit of fun. So they just come and live in the project. Just, yeah, so I think that that's quite nice. I got some stamps the other day from a charity shop and I cannot find them. They are somewhere hidden here. So when we find them, I can add some of those to one of these, and then that will become part of my little swap. So there we go. That's what we've made today. And also the possibility of this little booklet. Well, that's just going to want embellishing with something, and you know, more of the same we can just add. So that's nice. That's just it might even be quite fun to add in stamps when you're practicing your stamping. If you've got a new stamping pad and you're not sure what they look like, it's quite nice to keep them all in a little booklet here. So this was a really fun idea, just a little bit of wispy colour, and then once we start adding on some of these labels, it just adds to something. There we go. And then we can add one of these. This comes from my digital kit as well, so this is the sort of thing that you can make, these nice little ephemera pieces. And it could be a nice place to put some stamps if you've got a stamping silicone pad and you're not sure what the stamps look like on different textured papers. Maybe this could be a little place to put stamps and see what they look like over different pages. Or you might prefer that is bound in. Anyway, lots of little ideas and some inspiration to think about and things that we can do just to make journaling interesting and fun. So I hope you've enjoyed that and taken some inspiration. I'm going to look at how I'm going to tackle the purse over the weekend, so I'll get a video out about that. But otherwise, this is this month's project to make a little ephemera holder, look like a file folder like that, a little mini one. Really cute, can come and live on journal or even be the front page. Something really sweet, and obviously it can wrap round and be delivered like that with a little bit of lace or twine to band that round as a fun happy mail. That's quite good. And it can also be sent flat as well. So if you are sending anything as a happy mail, it could even be bound in. So that's another way of doing it. That could have been really fun. So this can go to, so if you're giving this as happy mail, then it could be decided to just put that through and tie the bow. That's a really good idea. That's how you can send it nice and flat. and then off it goes. Okay guys, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you found some inspiration here and you use up some of your book pages and your labels. That is the freebie over on the coffee shop, and obviously you'll be able to get hold of the labels as well. So do have a look, it's all there for you. And above everything else, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.